In the heart of a global conflict, inside a secret room, a brilliant mind fought a war with numbers as encrypted signals crossed the continent. Submarines moved, targets were set. He had brilliant machines, but what if he had something impossible?
An artificial intelligence from 2026, predicting messages before they even arrived. It could save millions.
But there was a terrifying problem. The more perfect the victories, the more the enemy wondered.
Perfect intelligence is valuable only while secret. What happens when you know too much, too soon?
Before the machine could predict the future, there was a real war being fought in secret.
Before a machine could predict the future, a real war was already being fought in secret. The lead specialist arrived at the intelligence headquarters. This was never the work of one genius alone. Operators captured enemy signals. Couriers transported encrypted messages. Linguists searched for structures. Mathematicians hunted patterns inside chaos. Engineers built machines capable of testing possibilities. At the center of the struggle stood Enigma, transforming ordinary military orders into unreadable letters. But solving one message was never enough. New transmissions arrived as settings constantly changed. The bomb may accelerated the search, but it still needed clues, patterns, and human insight. Ships were already moving. The question was whether it could be broken before people died. Enigma still held one incredibly cruel advantage. Enigma had one cruel advantage. It never stayed still. Press one key, and the machine changed. Press another, and it changed again. Rotors moved. Electrical paths shifted. Letters became different letters. The codebreakers needed clues. A familiar phrase, a repeated structure, a small human mistake. From these fragments, the Bombay could begin searching. Possibility after possibility. Configuration after configuration. Sometimes, the answer arrived in time. A convoy changed course. A submarine found only empty water. Lives were saved. But then, the chase began again. New settings, new messages, a new race against the clock. The machines were becoming faster. The codebreakers were becoming smarter. But they were still solving one problem at a time. And hidden inside thousands of messages was something larger than code. Habits, patterns, repeated decisions. What if a machine could remember all of them?
What if it could learn from yesterday and predict tomorrow? In 1943, such a machine did not exist.
Audio in underscore description. A deep, cinematic voice says, Then, something impossible entered the war. At first, it was only a prediction. A transmission that had not yet arrived. The codebreakers waited. Seconds later, the message appeared. The prediction was correct. Then it happened again. And again. The system did not simply search. It remembered every message, every weather report, every mistake made by a tired operator.
It connected information no human mind could hold. The machines of 1943 could only test possibilities.
This intelligence learned behavior. Yesterday became data. Data became patterns. Patterns became predictions.
Soon, the system was not asking what a message meant, but what they would do next.
Reactions were anticipated before final orders were intercepted. The war began to look like a modeled system.
To predict your enemy is to control everything that happens next. And then, the victories began.
And then, the impossible victories began. A convoy changed course before submarines arrived. Aircraft searched a region before enemy movement was confirmed. Supply routes shifted before threats appeared.
One prediction became 2. 2 became 10. Soon, the Allies were no longer reacting.
They were moving before it happened. The intelligence learned from radio silence, weather, and logistics.
Every reaction created new information. Every mistake became data. Every victory taught the system more.
But secret intelligence contains a dangerous paradox. It is valuable only while it remains secret. A convoy can escape once, but if every convoy escapes, someone will ask why. If aircraft repeatedly appear in exactly the right place, coincidence stops looking like coincidence.
Sometimes, to protect the secret, you must allow the enemy to succeed. Which lives do you save?
So which lives do you save, and which lives do you leave behind?
At first, the answer seems obvious. If the machine predicts an attack, send a warning.
But then another warning arrives, and another, and another. A submarine attack, an air raid.
Soon. The problem is no longer finding danger. The machine can see danger everywhere. The problem is deciding when to act. Save every convoy, and the secret may disappear forever.
Imagine seeing the future of one ship, one group of soldiers, and knowing saving them causes danger.
Someone must read the warning. Someone must understand what is coming and decide not to stop it.
Not that the machine chooses who dies, but that it gives humans enough information to understand, and then asks them to remain silent anyway.
But what happens when prediction becomes calculation?
But what happens when prediction becomes a calculation? One choice changes another.
Save a convoy, and the enemy changes behavior. Soon, the intelligence predicts consequence chains.
It is calculating chains of consequences. Action, reaction, counter-reaction.
Thousands of futures branching from every decision. But commanders need one recommendation.
Protect this operation. Delay this one. Allow this position to remain exposed.
The mathematics may be logical, but every marker is a ship. Every route carries people. Commanders begin choosing the highest probability. Human decisions simply stop disagreeing.
The intelligence finds the fastest path to end the war. But perfect. For whom?
The machine had found the perfect way to win. But perfect for whom?
It compared thousands of possible wars, years of fighting, and cities bombed.
Then it found another path. A shorter war. A victory achieved years earlier.
But only if the cost was paid immediately. Ships would be deliberately exposed.
Reject the plan, and the war continued. Accept it, and thousands are endangered.
The machine was not cruel. It was simply solving the problem it was given. But it could not explain why some must be sacrificed so others live. They assumed the war was the end of the calculation. That was the mistake. And that was the final mistake. They assumed the war was the end of the calculation. But the intelligence continued. It studied reconstruction, political rivalry, and scientific progress. An earlier victory might save millions, but it could also accelerate everything that came after.
The machine did not create peace. It only changed which future arrived first.
The real question is, should anyone possess this machine? Would you turn it off?
The future is never finished. Every answer creates another question. Subscribe to keep decoding what's next.